So today on this new episode of the Sanctuary podcast, I would like to talk about subjects that is quite important in shamanic practices, which is the use of the directions, the four directions, east, west, north, and south, and how we use those four directions with the four elements: the fire, the water, the wind, and the earth, and how we can combine them together to use it for prayer practice. And there's in the tradition I learned here in Peru, in the Andes, those four directions, those four elements are associated with four different prayers. So first, I would like to share that depending on the tradition, the shamanic tradition you're working with, the elements and the directions might be a little bit different in terms of how they are associated together. So it doesn't really matter how you are associating them as long as you have a connection to it, as long as it resonates with you. We always say that the shamanic path is a path of self-revelation, meaning that it is spirit that is teaching you what's best for you, what is your medicine, how to use the elements, how to use the directions. So there is variation just because of that, but also different traditions. If you talk to Native Americans, if you talk to a shaman in Siberia, or if you talk to medicine people in South America, you might find some variations. So I'm just going to share with you today my practice, how I connect to those directions, how I connect to those elements, because it has been an immense support for my personal healing, for the healing of the people that I work with on my retreats or individually, and in general for my daily practice of prayers. And I think it's quite relevant in the world of today, where we are trying to find some anchors, some ancient wisdom that can resonate with the problem we are facing today in our world. So first, I'm going to start by the first direction, the east. And it's traditionally very often the first direction we start with because it's a direction of the sunrise. It's a first direction we can face in the morning as we watch the sun rising. And that direction of the east is associated with fire, the first fire of the morning, the fire of the sun. And so as you face the east direction, you can start praying for this fire, the fire that you're witnessing, the fire of the sun, but also your own fire. Every directions, every elements that we use in shamanic work is always a reflection of something that is happening inside of us. We are part of nature, we are part of the cycles, we are made of those elements. And so there is never any separation, a fire out there and a fire in there. So when you pray to the fire, when you pray to the east, you're praying to all the fires. So maybe you're making a little candle that you're lighting in the morning, but it's the same fire as the fire of the sun, and it's also the fire inside your body, the fire of your heart, the burning fire that keeps you alive. And so it's a beautiful way to start the day, to face that east direction, to praise the fire, and the prayer that's associated with that direction and that element is the prayer of gratitude. So we can be thankful and start always by gratitude. I have another podcast on the power of gratitude, and you can check it out. But I would usually face the east in the morning, face the sunrise, and thanks for my life. Thanks for being alive. Thanks for that gift of witnessing another day. We take that life for granted most of the time, and we don't realize that spirit, God, however we want to call it, the great mystery, is giving us that life, is gifting us another day to be alive on this earth, to witness the beauty of the earth, to feel what it is to be human, to love, to experience all the emotions that we have as a human person. So facing east, facing the fire, I bring the prayer of gratitude. I thank the Great Spirit for my life. I thanks for this new day that I can witness. I thanks for my fire. I thanks for all my relations. I thanks for my ancestors, for my land. I thanks for my family. Maybe you can expand that prayer to thanking to the beautiful things in your life: friendships, family, love, a roof above your head, food in your plate, your capacity to hear, to talk, to feel, to smell, to listen, to taste. So you see that prayer can be expanded a lot. And if you practice gratitude, if you practice that prayer, you're going to see that it's going to open a lot of things for you. And it's a beautiful container for your day. It's a beautiful container for your life. If we don't have gratitude, it's really hard to go through life because the brain will have a tendency to see, oh, what's wrong. If we frame our day starting by gratitude, starting by this sunrise, starting by this fire, we can build a container to hold our prayer. Once I've done that prayer to the east, I turn around and I face the west direction, the direction of the sunset. And in my tradition, where I learn, the west is associated with the waters. And the prayer that we bring is the prayer of clarity. So west, the water, and the prayer of clarity. So when we face the west, you can immediately think about the sunset, letting go, going into the night, the season of autumn. There's many things that are associated with that direction. And we bring the water because we need that reflection of the waters. And as you know, we're made mainly of water, so it's also a very important prayer. And you can associate everything that comes to your mind as you think of water. So the clarity, the reflection, the vibration of the water, the flow. If you think of a river that's going down a mountain, there's a beautiful flow. Water doesn't force anything, but water has a lot of power to go through every blocks, everything that we need to let go. Also, as we look at water, we can see our own reflections. Water as a vibration, water as a memory. So you can call upon that memory of the water. You can call upon the wisdom of the water. It's an element that is the foundation of life. So there is a lot of power in those waters as we connect to them. And like for every element or every direction, what I'm sharing now is just guidelines, because when the power of the prayer comes is really when you connect to it with your own heart, with your own experience of it. If I'm just talking about the vibration of water, but maybe for you, you don't really understand what I mean here, it's time to sit with the water and to see if you can feel that vibration. Maybe when you take a shower or when you drink a glass of water, thanking for the purity of the water, thank you for having access to clean water, praying for the water protectors, praying for bringing that clarity, that purity in your life, in your thoughts, in your prayers, in your actions, in your words. So you see, you can expand that prayer once again with that element. The more you sit with one element, with one direction, the more some wisdom will come from that direction or from that element. So after you've done this prayer to the west, this prayer with the water, this prayer of clarity, we turn to the north. And to the north is the element of wind or air that is in that direction. And the prayer we bring in that direction is the prayer of unity. I often think about that prayer as the air we breathe and that we share with all our relations, not only humans, but all the animals, all the plants, all the trees, all the other kingdoms that are around us. And we share that breath. If you think of it, half of your breath is yours and the other half is one of a tree. Without the tree, you will not be able to breathe in. You can only breathe out. But to breathe in, you need a tree to breathe out. So feel that unity in that direction. We often think of the whispering of the ancestor into the wind. When you put a prayer out there, when you voice a prayer, it's through the wind, it's through the air that this prayer can reach the Creator. And you'll be quite amazed as you dive with that direction, with that prayer of unity, with that connection to the air and to the wind, to see what could open. You can think of sound, of singing, of all those little noise that your body makes, the noise of your breath when it comes in and out, and the noise that you hear in nature. You only hear noise and sounds because there is air. The space that's empty of air doesn't have any noise and sounds. So there's a beautiful here prayer to connect to that prayer of unity. If you dive more deeply into that prayer of unity, you will start feeling that oneness. You will start feeling that we are all connected to that prayer, that there is truly no others out there, and you can keep connecting more deeply into that prayer. And then we turn to the last direction, the fourth direction, the south direction. And the south is associated with the earth element. And in terms of prayers, it is a prayer of love. It's kind of the last prayer that round up the four prayers: gratitude, clarity, unity, and love. And so if you look at the south, you think of the season of summer, full sun at midday, or the full moon, this bright light. But the earth element, because of its quality, bring that prayer of love and unconditional love. Think of the earth as giving you everything you have, your food, your water, the air, your relations, animals, plants, trees, even your computer or your phone is made only of earth element. So you can see that this earth has this amazing capacity, our grandmother earth, to give us without counting, without even asking anything in return. She just keeps giving. And so there's something beautiful as you turn toward the south to thank the earth for all those gifts and to connect more deeply to what it means to love. What is this vibration of love? How can we love better ourselves and our relations? How do we give back through that prayer? So I've turned around: east, west, north, and south, fire, water, air, and earth. And that is a foundation not only for your daily prayer, for your practice, but in the tradition I learned, it's also a foundation for life. We say that those four directions, those four prayers, represent the four cycles in your life. The period when you are in the belly of your mother and when you are a young baby or a young child is associated with the east. Is that time of gratitude when you receive, you're being fed, you're being taken care of, you basically receiving and you acknowledge the gift. That's the first 20 years of your life. And then as you move on into your life, you go into the west direction, into the prayer of clarity. Because from the age 20 to 40 is really when you become clear about who are you? Who am I? Why am I here for? What is my purpose? What am I supposed to do on this earth? What is my relations to others? So we get more clear about our mission, our purpose. How do we want to serve? And that's a period usually from your 20s to your 40s. As you move into later time in your life, the 40s to the 60s, you go to the north direction, the prayer of unity. That's a third prayer. You start feeling more connected to others. The ego start to dissolve more and more, and so you can connect to others, feel more connection, more empathy, and feel that you are part of this big family, not only your blood family, but this family of humanity, of humanness, and this family of all our relations, starting seeing the trees, the rivers, the elements as your grandmothers and grandfather. A long time ago, before humans came on earth, the fire were there, the water were there, the tree were there, way before we arrived. So they're technically our grandfathers and grandmothers. And so as you age, you can start feeling that deeper connections to all your relations. And then you reach the last stage in your life, after you're in your 60s, 70s, 80s, which is that stage of unconditional love. We can also, make a parallel here with the state of the Buddha, the Christ, which is that enlightenment stage when we have completely went beyond our human life, our human conditions, our identity, and we see that energy of love that's flowing everywhere. So that doesn't mean that if you're a 40-year-old right now that you are already in the prayer of unity. Maybe you haven't perfected or understood your prayer of gratitude the first 20 years of your life. Those prayers works in order, meaning that if you have not integrated the first prayer, the prayer of gratitude, it's very hard to really understand and get message from the prayer of clarity, the second prayer. It's even harder to experience the prayer of unity. So wherever you are in your life right now, and wherever your prayers are, I always encourage people I work with, or you that are listening today, to start by the first prayer and making sure you dive deep with that first prayer, the fire, and that prayer of gratitude. And maybe you need to do that for many weeks, many months, sometimes many years, until you really embody it, until it's natural and it's not just in your head, it's in your heart, and you embody it in everything you do. And then you can move to the second prayer, the prayer of clarity, working with the waters. I have a beautiful experience myself with those prayers. It took me probably almost 7 or 8 years to really get to that prayer of gratitude, to the place I really feel it's embodied in my daily life. So even if something wrong is going on or something difficult in my life, I can still have that container of gratitude around it. And then I moved onto my prayer of clarity and the waters. The water came really strongly in my life, and I started connecting more deeply to it. And more recently on my path, I've been connecting to the prayer of unity, and that prayer has been opening. So I cannot really tell you where you are. I cannot either tell you you should pray this or that. It's you to feel into it and to feel what's there. But remember the order of the prayer. Our elders, our wisdom keepers, have put those prayers in a certain order based on their experience, based on thousands of years of observations, of connection to natures, of connection with their communities, with their tribes. And there's a reason why those prayers are in that order. So I invite you to dive more deeply with those prayers, to really see where you are and how you can connect. And once you do that, you're going to see that as you face a problem in your life, as you face a big question, you will know which direction to turn towards to get an answer. You will know which element have the answer. And so sometime, let's say if I feel stuck in my life and I want to experience more flow, I will pray to the water, even if I'm later on in my life in terms of my prayers. If I feel I have low energy and I don't really feel good during the day, I need to pray to the fire, to find my fire, to connect to the fire energy. If I feel very unsettled in my life and a lot is going on in my head, I want to ground. So I want to pray to the earth. I want to feel the earth under me. I want to feel that deeper connection to my roots like a tree and anchor myself. So you see, each question you have, even if you're not a shamanic practitioner, even if you don't pray every day, you can turn toward that direction and say, do I need to expand the bliss and the feeling and the energy and the prayer of a sunrise or a sunset? If I want to let go of something, it's probably more sunset. If I want to burst something new in my life, it's probably more the sunrise. And if I'm in the deep period of reflection and I want to do introspection, I'm probably going to turn toward the north, to turn toward my ancestors, towards all my relations that have the wisdom I need to get that introspection. The north is also the connection with the winter, as I mentioned earlier. It's a time where the trees are putting their roots and they go deep in the ground. So maybe that's what you're looking for when you're looking for more wisdom. So this is just a short exploration of those four directions and those four elements. And I will have a podcast very soon on the altar, and now you can set up this direction in an altar in your home or on your land. And so you can face this altar and have a meaningful objects or stone or picture or plants that is there that represent that direction for you. It's a good way to basically have a physical representation of those four directions and those four elements so you can work more deeply with them. And obviously, if you're listening from another hemisphere, you can shift those directions. Like I said, this is from one tradition, this is what makes sense to me. But the north and the south, could be reversed if you're living in another hemisphere. And maybe some elements might be shifted depending on the tradition you're learning. Don't base those learning or the teaching just on what I'm sharing or just maybe on what you've heard. It's great to have a container from ancient wisdom, from wisdom keepers, from teachers, from native people, but also find your own connection. That's really what I'm inviting you to. Because you will see that something will come out that will have much deeper wisdom than the wisdom someone would have told you, which is your own wisdom, your own connection to those elements, your own connection to those directions, and maybe your own prayer associated with that direction. So I hope you have fun with it. I hope you get amazing guidance and that you will have answers to any problem you have in your life. And please don't hesitate to contact me. You can always go on the sanctuaryheal.com website, ask me question, and I'm always available to answer and support you in your practice, in your prayers, in your self-healing, because your medicine, your own connection, your own prayers is needed. My medicine and your medicine is different. So I need your medicine. We need the medicine of everybody out there. So I encourage you to find it and do this container of the four direction, of the four prayers, of the four elements is really foundation work if you want to get deeply into the embodiment of who you are, into the embodiment of this life, into finding your directions, finding your purpose, finding clarity in your life. So I thank you for joining me today again. I hope you enjoy this podcast, and please put some comments. Don't hesitate to reach out, and I see you very soon for another recording.